Hey, how you doing? Brian Cain, your baseball mental performance mastery coach here. And thanks for joining me in this baseball coaching program where I'm going to take you through in 10 lessons what I call the 10 pillars of mental performance mastery. So to get started, what I want you to do is I want you to, as a program or individually within your program, watch this video. This is on pillar 1, elite mindset. And I'm going to send this to you about 1 week before our first call so that you have a week to get through the content, a week to start putting these drills and strategies into play. And then when we get on our call, we'll have 30 minutes with players and coaches to be able to answer questions, and then 30 minutes with just coaches to be able to really help support you and how to implement this into your program. I'm super excited to be joining you. I'm going to have clients of mine and friends of mine in professional baseball and all over college and high school baseball join in, potentially as guest speakers, so that you get an access to kind of my Rolodex of baseball. And I'm super excited to be joining you on this journey. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to kind of walk you through our program. So first, this is a Google Doc that I'm going to share with you, and you can share this as a coach with your players. And as you're watching this video, you might want to go through this document as well. And again, you're going to watch this video before our call. And when we get on our call, it's going to be much more question and answer and interactive with you as the player and the coach and me, instead of me trying to teach all of this to you on the call, which would just be way too much content. I want to give you time to go through it. So first, let's talk about my background. I grew up in a town in Massachusetts. I was a football, basketball, baseball player. I got a Division I scholarship to go to the University of Vermont and struggled mightily when I was there. That led me down the path of mental performance, trying to figure out, well, what was it that I needed as a player that would have helped me? And what I found out was the thing that I needed as a player was how to master the mental game. And that's what I'm going to share with you here today and over our 10 sessions together. Then I went from being a pitcher at the University of Vermont, graduate in 01. I went to the Cape Cod League and coached there for a summer. I went to Cal State Fullerton. I was there as a grad assistant in 2002 and 3. And it's where I met a guy by the name of Ken Ravizza. Now, Ken Ravizza is like the founder of the mental game of baseball. And his book, Heads Up Baseball, I highly recommend that you pick up. So I'd encourage you to write this down in your notes. Heads Up Baseball by Ken Ravizza. The book changed my life so much that I have the author's face tattooed on my heart. And literally for the last call it 20 years since I left Cal State Fullerton, I've had the privilege to work with 4 programs, a dogpiled in Omaha, in Fullerton, Coastal Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Oregon State. I've had over 1,000 players that have gone through training like this, drafted into professional baseball. I've worked with 4 Cy Young Award winners, including David Price, Trevor Bauer, Jake Arrieta, and most recently Corbin Burns with the Milwaukee Brewers. So I want to make sure that you check out my podcast with Corbin Burns. So coach, make sure you make a note of that for your players to go through. Unbelievable to hear a Cy Young Award winner talk about how he uses the same system that you guys are going to be going through. Also work with, let me grab this. This is all live, right? This is not a scripted deal, so you're going to have to bear with me. Work with Sports Illustrated cover boy Bobby Witt Jr., who is a high school baseball player, was number 2 pick in the Major League Baseball draft. I had him at Colleyville Heritage High School down there with the great coach Alan McDougall in Colleyville, Texas. So what these players use is what you're going to use. And I just want to kind of get right into it and get it going because I know time is everything. And as a high school baseball player and coach, you don't have a ton of time. So again, over the last 2 decades, what I've done is taken what has made these great players and programs the best, right? And I've broken it down into a group of fundamental, coachable, and trainable mental skills that make up what I call the 10 pillars of baseball mental performance mastery. And this is what I cover in my coach's certification. So if you're a coach, you might want to click on that link and check that out. For athletes, you might want to click on this and check out my athletes program. It's just more in-depth. If you like what we're doing here and you want more, that's where to go. So let's talk about these things that I call the 10 pillars of mental performance mastery, or in your case, it might be the drills that we're going to do to develop the 10 skills of the mental toughness skill set. You see, a skill set is simply a collection of what? Skills, right? So as a shortstop, you have a different skill set than a catcher. You got to have better lateral movement. A catcher's got to be able to block. Outfielder's going to have a better arm than a first baseman. So all these are skills that make you a baseball player. If you're a shortstop, you're probably going to have to be better with bunting and in base running than maybe your power hitting third baseman, right? So we all have different skills. A quarterback has a different skill set than an offensive lineman. But in baseball, these are the 10 skills that we're developing. And my plan here with you through this group coaching program is that this week one, we're going to talk about how to build an elite mindset. Next week, we're talking about motivation and commitment. Week 3 is focus and awareness. And we're going to go through all of these over the next 10 weeks. Now, if you can't make the calls live because you got practice or a makeup game, no problem. I'm going to record the calls, send them to you, coach, and then you can share those with your players. All right. So what I want to do now is, the skill we're talking about today is elite mindset. But I want to give you kind of some mindset, what I would call like ground rules. Okay. And the first one here is that life is a strategy game, not a talent game. And I say it's A plus S plus GOYA or Goya equals R. And it's your ability plus your strategies that you use and getting off of your anatomy. Like you got to do the work, right? You got to put in work. This is not a magic pill. This is not a motivational speech. This is a system that you're going to use to become the best version of you as a baseball player and a baseball coach. So it's ability plus strategy plus get off your anatomy equals results. My goal is to give you the strategies that you need to give you the best chance for success. Your goal is to realize you have unlimited ability inside of you. It needs to be developed. You can have and do anything with the right strategy and time, but you got to put in the work, man. Coach can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. You got to be relentless at putting in the work. If there's one characteristic from the Bobby Witt Juniors, the Corbin Burns, the Matt Chapmans, the Alex Bregmans, the best players I've been around, you could summarize it right here, man. They are not afraid to put in work. 3 steps to maximum growth. Okay. Step 1, if you're going to grow, or if we want to call this 3 steps to player development, maybe you stay in the baseball side of things. 3 steps to player development. Number 1 is what I call total immersion learning. That's you watching this video, drinking from the fire hose of information that's coming at you, but you can't just do it once. You got to go through this video multiple times so that you master the content, right? You don't play catch once and go, I got it. You don't take batting practice once and say, done, got it for the year. No, you do a lot. That's spaced repetition. Look, this is the missing link in player development is we don't do spaced repetition. Okay. And then we don't surround ourselves with people on the same mission as us, an accountability partner, nor do we have a growth plan. Well, in your program, your teammates are your accountability partners. I'm going to help you create the mental game growth plan. And to get started right away, right now, to get this down, I want you to install the app Habit Share. So if you pause this video, you're going to get the app Habit Share. And Habit Share is this here. So go in the App Store, download this app, and we're going to use this as our growth plan. So go ahead and pause the video, download that. Now that you got Habit Share, okay, we're going to come back to that. I want you to go in and make an account. And you're going to add first habit, make your bed. We'll talk more about that later when we get into the Navy SEAL community, but you're going to make your bed. And then you're going to share on the friends tab, coach. You want your players, if you're all watching this together in a classroom, to share their habits with everyone on the team for 3 reasons. 1, clarity. I know what my teammates are doing. 2, accountability. I can see if they're doing what they said they were going to do. And 3, support. I can learn what my teammates are doing to help me get a better chance for success. And then let's just review what I call the 4 stages of buy-in, right? Because every player, every coach, if you guys are obviously in this program, you buy into the mental game, but there's going to be some players in this room that are going, mental game? This is not for me. I don't need this mental game. But hopefully all of you right now, after you heard the client list, right, including 6 UFC world champions, if you see a title belt behind me, are going to say, that's okay for others. Maybe you've watched the Evan Longoria E60. Maybe you've watched the Sean Casey MLB Network video. Maybe you've listened to the Corbin Burns podcast. I'm going to put that right here. Type that here. You guys can search Brian Cain Corbin Burns podcast and find it. Then you're going to say, man, if that works for those guys, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give you exactly what to try. And it starts with the Habit Share app. We're going to fill that out as we go through our call. And at the end, I'm hoping you're going to look back after these 10 weeks and go, man, I can't believe I did it any other way. That's what I'm expecting is going to happen in your program. All right. That's kind of the intro. Let's get going here. Let's dive into this. Stick with me. So coach, if I'm going too fast, you might want to pause this video and go over it with your team. You might want to review this throughout the week before we come into our next, our first coaches call here, which will be on the 24th of January. So skill one, elite mindset. You see, without the right mindset in baseball, you're going to continue to struggle with doubt, thinking, I just don't have the mental toughness needed to reach my full potential. You have it, you just haven't developed it. And as you start developing an elite mindset, you're going to start to see setbacks, things you used to think of as failure, as opportunity for growth. That makes a huge difference in your results. And as you learn to train your mindset, you're going to be able to smash through the mental barriers that have held you back, and you're going to realize your true potential. So here's some drills, right? These are things you're going to do. So the first is you installed Habit Share, and we're going to call that the success checklist. And as I share things with you, like, for example, my podcast, Mental Performance Daily. If you search in your podcast app, Apple, Spotify, wherever it is you listen, Brian Cain Mental Performance Daily, you're going to add that to your Habit Share. So right now in your Habit Share, you have Make Bed and you have Mental Performance Daily. Let's just make a list here. You have Make Bed, and you're going to put down times 7 in parentheses. That's how many days a week you're going to do it. And you have Cain, let's call it Cain Daily Podcast. It's called Mental Performance Daily, times 7. You're also going to put down hitting or pitching imagery times 4. And I'm going to share those audios with you here in YouTube. Okay, I'll share those with you. So if you go to Brian Cain Corbin Burns podcast, click on the first link, boom. There's the Brian Cain Corbin Burns podcast you're going to want to listen to. You can get it in your podcast app, or you can get it right there. Okay. Next one you're going to do is you're going to type in Brian Cain YouTube hitting imagery. And here's mental imagery for pitchers. You can see that right there. This is Brian Cain. This is a mental imagery audio you're just going to listen to, right? And if you type in Brian Cain hitting imagery, we're going to talk more about this when we get into pillar 7, which is hitting, pillar 6, which is meditation and mental imagery. But if you go here, mental imagery training, that is not it. That's a long video I did. Let's see here. So mental imagery for pitchers. You go into
This
YouTube.
is Brian Cain
with your good. Go into YouTube. And again, we're freestyling here. So if you go into up here and type in Brian Cain mental imagery for hitting. Oh, there it is. Mental imagery for hitting. You'll see with Bryce Harper. Mental imagery for pitching. You'll see with David Price. So now you would add one of those, right? If you're a pitcher, add mental imagery for pitching. If you're a hitter, add mental imagery for hitting. You're going to add that to your Habit Share. Again, we're going to talk more about what that is as we move forward, but that's a mental game exercise. Exercise where we're doing one take here, boys, not editing any of this. You're getting it live. Doing a pitching or hitting imagery where you're going to close your eyes and visualize yourself playing the way you want to play, right? You're probably doing this already. It just is a little easier when someone walks you through it like I will. When we talk about making your bed, coach, if you Google search Navy SEAL, make your bed, and you're going to come here and you're going to see Admiral William McRaven talking about why you want to make your bed every day. And Admiral McRaven gave a great speech at the University of Texas to their graduating class in 2014 about why Navy SEALs make their bed every day.
Gravity is a force to be
and why you should too. So I'm going to take this link to this video. I'm going to go into our notes. I'm going to highlight make your bed. Boom. Now you can watch that. Okay. So let's talk about the drills. You got Habit Share. You're making that success checklist. When you execute on it, you check the box green. When you don't execute on it, you check it red. If you didn't need to, check it gray. So as you're going through this program, let me tell you about a drill called Signs of Success that I really have implemented a lot with TCU's baseball program and their Big 12 Player of the Year, Cody Jones. So Cody Jones is at a high school down in Texas, at a high school called Stony Point, and he's a sophomore in high school, and I'm speaking at the school. And one of the things I gave out that day was I gave out a dry erase marker for every player to go home and write down their goals on their mirror in their bathroom or their mirror in their bedroom. And I said, through our seminar, if you hear things that you like if I said confidence is a choice, attitude is a decision, toughness over talent, compete one pitch at a time, fake it till you make it, right? If you're not feeling confident, you got to act confident, fake it till you make it. ABC, always behave confident. You're going to throw a lot of these at you, these mindsets. You take your marker, write them down on your mirror so you see them every day. You might put them up as what I call signs of success in your room. You might hang them places where you can see them. Like right now, in front of my computer here on the wall behind, I have a big whiteboard and I have mindsets up there, right? It says, be more strategic, dominate the day in Kenny's army, my mentor, Ken Revisa. It says, say no more often, right? Instead of saying yes to everything, I get excited and say yes too often. So the advertising that you want to do for yourself allows you to create that elite mindset. So as we go through this program and you hear things you like, write them down somewhere in your room where you can see them and you can study that every day. Okay, that's signs of success. Well, Cody Jones did that. And when he was at Stony Point as a sophomore in high school, and somehow, some way, his mom saw it, thought it was cool, took a picture, sent it to his coach. His coach sends me the picture. I put the picture in a book I wrote called The Daily Dominator. Cody Jones then gets the book as a junior at TCU like 5 years later and calls me and goes, Cainer, where'd you find this picture, man? This is from my bedroom. And that's how I put the story together. Crazy, right? So that might be you. You might be the next Cody Jones. You might be the next Big 12 player of the year. You might need to be the next Bobby Witt Jr. on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a high school baseball player. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, it ain't going to happen by accident. It's going to happen through intention and being intentional. So to help you be more intentional, hang up those signs of success as you hear things. Like, for example, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. You're going to listen to my Mental Performance Daily podcast. Again, if you type in Brian Cain Mental, or if you just go to briancain.com and click on podcast, you'll be able to click on Mental Performance Daily, and that's going to take you to my podcast here in Megaphone. But if you just search Mental Performance Daily Podcast, you'll find it anywhere. If you come here, you can get it in Spotify. Click on that and you get the podcast in Apple. You guys know how to do this. It's 2022. Perfect. Next podcast you're going to do, my friend Zach Sorensen. He's the mental performance coach with the Atlanta Braves, who just won a World Series. Zach played Major League Baseball, and he's a really good friend of mine, and he's going to be a guy who's going to hop in on these calls with us. So Zach created a podcast called The Hard 90. And what you're going to want to do, right, it's baseball specific, is you're going to listen to The Hard 90. Here's what it looks like with Zach Sorensen. He does it 5 days a week, and you're going to be able to learn more about his system, which is largely aligned with my system. And I think it's just a great another avenue for you to learn about the mental game. So again, what do we have so far? I got Habit Share. I got Signs of Success. I got Mental Performance Daily. I got The Hard 90. I got Making My Bed. I got Mental Imagery. I got The Hard 90. All right. Now, if you start doing these on a daily basis, man, you're going to develop an elite mindset. This first video is going to be the longest one there is because that's pillar one. That's the most important. Without this, you're going to fail. Okay. And we don't want you to fail. We want you to be wildly successful. Another drill is called E plus R equals O. This would be a great sign of success. Maybe the first one to hang up. Event plus response equals outcome. Look, you do not control the events that happen to you, that happen around you as a baseball player. You don't control an umpire's call. You don't control field conditions, and you don't control coaches' decisions, but you can control your response to all those. Event plus response equals outcome. Now, the best response you can possibly take, and I'm not going to play this video for you, right? This is about you doing the work. I'm your guide here. You got to do the work. But this video right here, Jocko Good, okay, he's a former Navy SEAL commander, maybe the best 3-minute video. I think I've showed it to every team I work with, but I'm not going to do you a disservice of showing it to you. I want you to go find it yourself so you can see it more often. But Jocko's Good video is the exact response you want to have when adversity hits. And if you're playing baseball, guess what? Adversity is coming. And when it does, good. Pick your response. Jake Arrieta, Cy Young in 2015 with the Chicago Cubs. I started with him at TCU in 2007. Underneath his hat, he writes the word ACE. Acting changes everything. Here's another sign of success for you. He writes down acting changes everything. Why? Because even the best pitcher in the world, that time of like 2016, 15, statistically, the second half of baseball, Jake put up the best half ever from a Major League Baseball pitcher. Why has he got to write down acting changes everything underneath his hat? Because he's got to remind himself to act confident. Look, confidence isn't a feeling. Confidence is an action. Confidence is something you do, not something you get. So start doing confidence, right? That belt you saw behind me, George St. Pierre, GSP, one of the best mixed martial arts fighters of all time. If you go in and type in GSP, highly questionable, on ESPN. He's getting ready to fight a UFC title fight.
Do you have a place
Listen to
where
this.
you remember going from not confident to no, now I'm strong. Now I
This is the
am
best fighter on the
confident.
planet,
Do you
man.
remember when and how that happened?
Confidence, it's a choice.
I'm going to leave it right there. He's going to say confidence is a choice. Saturday night, when I get inside of the octagon against Michael Bisping, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be afraid. And this is normal because you know what the consequence can be, right? So every athlete I've ever worked with, from George St. Pierre to Corbin Burns, these guys have fear, man. But guess what? Fear is fuel. You got to take that and eat it as power pellets, and you got to have something to go to, like faking it till you make it, acting different than how you feel with your body language to give you that best chance for success. Okay. So that drill would be acting changes everything, or confidence is a choice. Get these signs of success up in your room. Now, last thing here I'm going to share with you for today, guys, not last, couple more, is 10 lessons from Navy SEAL community. Okay. Excuse me, I got an itch. So these 10 lessons from Navy SEAL community, okay, you can take and you can use for your baseball. So number one, never show weakness. That means carry yourself with big body language and confidence all the time. Number two, never feel sorry for yourself. You're playing a game that's extremely hard and there's a lot of adversity. And when that adversity shows up, good. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Just keep working to get better. Number three, stay patient in the face of adversity, right? Getting emotional, getting out of control isn't going to help you. You got to be in control of yourself before you can control your performance. Number four, when you're trying to be the best you can be, the only easy day was yesterday. Like, it doesn't end. You got to keep working. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep going. Number five, it pays to be a winner. Be a competitor. Find a way to win. As Ray Tanner, baseball coach at South Carolina, said, we're going to win anyway. I mean, if we're down 3-0, we believe we're going to win anyway, and we're going to find any way to win. He'd say, find an excuse to win. All right, number six, the race to excellence has no finish line. If you win a state championship, that season's over right then. Start focusing on the next one. Keep moving forward. There is no finish line. Also realize that you don't rise to the occasion. You don't step up. You sink to your habits and training. So if you're going to sink to your habits and training, make sure your habits and training are spot on and elite. Now, not dead, can't quit. Like, hey, if you still got one pitch left, not dead, can't quit, keep fighting. Adversity is our advantage. It's a growth opportunity in life. If I said there's winners and what, most people say losers. No, it's winners and learners, baby. Winners and learners. What are you doing to learn from each and every day? And then Jocko's one word, good. So here's another drill I want you to put into habit share, what I call one word focus. I want you to pick one word that if you lived right now for this season, right? We're doing this in 2022, this 2022 spring season. What's your one word? Mine is strategic. So I write down in my habit share one word, strategic, and I put down times 7. Did I live it today? Well, it's really obvious if I made my bed or not. It's not quite as obvious if I was strategic today, right? This would be objective, very, very simple. Did I do it or not? This would be subjective, up to my opinion. So coach, in your program, have each guy come up with their one word, make them put it in their habit share, and you guys talk about what you're doing with that one word. Now, other thing I think that's important, men, is and I know we have some softball players in here as well, individually coming in and teams coming in too. So men and women players, athletes, right? Coaches, softball, baseball players. Here we go. Increasing focus on one of the 4 core fundamentals of optimal living. Okay. So you have to pay attention to these, what I call core 4 fundamentals: how you eat, how you move, your mindset, and how you sleep. Like, you can't outwork bad nutrition. You can't outwork a poor mindset. That's why we're spending so much time here on pillar 1. And you can't outwork poor sleep. So the magic number for sleep is 9 hours and 15 minutes. And that's research proven by a guy named Dr. James Moss, MAAS. Check him out on YouTube. Dr. James Moss is a mentor of mine. I read all of his books, watched all of his videos. He was a professor at Cornell for like 50 years. And so you can't outwork bad sleep. So just start to pay more attention to these 4 fundamentals of optimal living as you work to grow your mindset. And last one, last drill: knowledge minus action gets you nothing. Look, it doesn't matter if you watch this video. It doesn't matter if you're going through this program with me. It doesn't matter if you're getting the same mental training as a Bobby Witt Jr. or Corbin Burns, Florida State softball that won the national championship in 2018 and was 1 game short in 2019. You're getting the same mental performance training as Major League Baseball organizations get. The ones that hire me to consult with them. It means nothing unless you put it right here, baby, into action. put it into action. What are you going to do? That's the conversation, coach, that you need to have as the coach going through this program. It's a reason why we're getting this to you a week ahead of time. What are you putting into action in your program? And if we come up here, this would be the start. You're going to make your bed. You're going to listen to the daily podcast. You're going to do hitting or pitching imagery 4 days a week, the hard 90, 5 days a week. You're going to focus on your one word 7 days a week. You're going to pay attention to EMMS, eat, move, mindset, sleep. Pick your one. Which one are you going to work on to get better with? Hit that 7 days a week. Start to formulate your mindset plan. Start to look at signs of success. You're going to do that. Let's go 5 days a week. Have those up in your room. And now what you're starting to do is you're starting to create a plan. You're starting to build a process. And a lot of coaches, a lot of players want to say, hey, we trust the process. Well, what does that mean, trust the process, if you don't have one? So our goal is that you create a process that you trust. You know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how. And that's where Habit Share becomes so important. So coach, get your program into Habit Share, and head coach, add me as a friend, Brian at briancain.com, so I can share my habits with you and you can see how I set this up. And then hopefully we can all go together. I'll work with you one-on-one as the head coach. You bring that down to your players and you guys create that system. I just can't have 500 extra players in there, so I won't look at them. It's just too many, but I'll look at one as a head coach and then you use that feedback to bring to your program. But looking forward to seeing you guys on our call and gals next week on our call, the 24th, and bring questions. 30 minutes with players and coaches, 30 minutes with just coaches about how we're going to work this system and things we talked about here on this call. Thanks for being with me. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I definitely answer all my own direct messages I get on there. So if you've got a question as a player, that's a great place to get me. It's at Brian Cain Peak, at Brian Cain Peak on Instagram and Twitter. Looking forward to seeing y'all on Monday. This is Pillar One Elite Mindset. Dominate the day.